Well, good afternoon. July 17th, 2012. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 94 degrees, and yes, before you ask, I am sweating. We've had a hot one. We've had a hot couple of weeks, and starting to wear on us, starting to wear on the crop. I will say this, I just got out of an airplane in Boone, Iowa, being up in the air for about an hour, and it does look surprisingly strong and surprisingly good. So where it's coming from, it's really hard to tell, but we're glad that we've got the genetics we do today. We're glad we have the root systems we do today. They're able to stay in the ground and keep this crop somewhat open. I am Todd Clausen, technical agronomist at Calvin Asgrow. I said it was Tuesday afternoon, July 17th, but this is your Monday morning alert, brought to you by Bloomgren Seed, and I am just a quarter of a mile west of Bloomgren Seed warehouse as I speak. Just a couple of things though. We're starting to flare, or not flaring, but we're seeing some spider mite populations emerge, which is real typical for the weather pattern we've had and we're having. Spider mite like it hot, they like it dry, and that's the real propagation, reproductive type of cycle, and the weather that cycle will really kick in. And so what am I looking for? Spider mite, they have piercing, sucking mouth parts. They reproduce rapidly, and so they take fluid, they take sugar from the leaf, and then they turn around and it's almost like they inject a toxin. And where I'm going to look first is on the lower part of the plant. The spider mites work from the bottom up. In corn, where we'll find them first is going to be along a south road, especially just like this. I'm on a south road, lots of gravel, lots of dust flying, and spider mite tend to give us problems in those areas. And where I'm looking at, again, on the bottom part of the plant, and I've got a couple of examples here, and they'll start on the midrib. And these are spider mite. They're mites. They are tiny. I usually need a lens to see them. You know, with the experience that we have with these things, I'm looking for little tiny lesions, little tiny areas where they're starting to congregate and where they're starting to establish. Really hard to tell, but right along the midrib, right here, I can see an area where a colony is starting to establish itself. Then if you look at it under a lens, you can actually see them. They're known as the two-spotted spider mite. So if you look at them under a microscope, you'd see two tiny little spots. There's another mite out here known as the Banks grass mite, but the two-spotted spider mite is the one that's most prevalent. As they colonize and they reproduce, then I start getting a much more mottled look. As you can see, the white along the midrib here, that's where they're colonizing, and they're actually starting to build a web, because they are a type of spider, and so they're building web, and they're just propagating, they're reproducing at a very, very rapid rate. If you have a lot of spider mite out in your field, they can really, and I mean they can exaggerate, they can magnify the drought conditions that you have, because they will take fluid from the plant. So there's something to watch for. There are a few insecticides that work in corn for spider mite, and a few insecticides that work in soybeans, and they're not always the same. So if you have a spider mite issue, you're concerned about it, call us, call DeKalb, call Asgrow, call Bloomgren Seed for specific recommendations for spider mite, because in these type of weather conditions they can explode rapidly. And the last thing this crop needs today is another negative impact upon it. So that's what we're talking about today. It is your Monday morning alert, brought to you by Bloomgren Seed, but it is Tuesday, July 17, 2012, and yes sir, she's hot out here. I'm Todd Clausen, technical agronomist with the Calvin Asgrow. Thank you very much.